And I have a few comments to share with you.
Okay. Hi, Perry.
Oh, Scott.
We started the show.
Do it to me again. No?
It's good. It makes you laugh. That's a good way to start a show. You know, that's everybody laughing.
Okay. So maybe we start from this.
Muay Thai kickboxing. Okay.
Thai boxing. I want to give away to
Well,
my list.
I can't make any comment about that. But
Can you
what does it mean when you finally realize you can drop your fists and not have to fight anything ever again to live a free life?
ยอมแพ้ Oh, can you ask the question?
That's the question.
Okay. I thought you asking Thai.
No,
Okay.
no.
Good question. So you have to tell me too, no? Okay, Scott.
Oh. Well, you know enough about it to know what it means to not create opposites with your imagination and how that results in freedom from fear and terror and all that good stuff.
The one who get it can think of me and can think of the show, of our show.
Then if they get that answer, I already gave them half the answer, but if they get that answer, then they get the t-shirt, right?
Yeah, right.
That's fair.
Scott, like I told at the beginning,
Okay,
I have a few, comments, compliment too. Okay, start from Beverly Oates. Scott, I am so happy to have found you and how you have a knowing and it resonates with me.
She sent me a couple emails about how to use the hue for health.
Oh, yes.
Health issues. So I haven't answered her yet because I haven't had time to do that with the show coming up, but because I got them late this afternoon. And I have to think about carefully how I answer them.
Okay. And the next one.
Oh, thank you for, it's a nice comment she made. I'm glad she found it too. I will write back to her this evening. Okay.
And the next one from Bestie1111. Really enjoy your interviews. When I heal, it instantly brings a sense of peace over me. Hoping to master on intentional OBEs and connect with my cosmic friends as well. Love and light.
Very good. If she reads the series agenda and goes and watches some of the videos that have been created that are free at theparalleltime.com at my site, or at just looking me up on YouTube, or our Scott Lemriel YouTube videos will come up. And of course, this show that Perry puts up on her YouTube channel is up every week too.
And another one interesting to Scott, Colleen Burke's chat. So how do we all avoid this in coming back here to Earth? We want to be free and not trapped in this body and this lower dimension. How or what do we do to not come back here to Earth? I long to be a part of beautiful beings that are loving, fair, kind, and understand conscious unity to be part of with our galaxy brothers and sisters.
There's only one way, direct experience. Working with the new ray in the hue is the first sound used to utilized to bring in all creation, the whole multi-dimensional creation, all the physical galaxies and all the physical galaxies in the astral plane and so forth, up these different dimensions. All of us as Atmas or beings come from in their starlight just right on time. He knows what's going on. I better bring him up here.
Yeah, bring him.
Come on, Patty, come take a look at him. There we go.
Hello, Starlight.
You see her over there? She's over there.
He has beautiful eyes, no?
Starlight is a telepathic being. It's an Atma like us running a cat body. But he really talks to Ambassador Torelling of the Say race very easily. There's no blocks in him. They communicate all the time. They're good buds. And then, of course, we're good buds, so it's all good. He likes to get up at the beginning of these radio shows, phone calls, it doesn't matter. And he tunes right in and he meows at people and he talks to them. He's very smart. And he's my best buddy, too. So together, this kitty. Okay, over there, pal.
If he's a human, I believe that he's be a handsome man, you know.
Oh yeah, he'd be a lady killer for sure. Yeah, this little guy, he's just really beautiful little kid. He's just so good. He knows he wants to be part of all this, so he's part of all of it. Right. I mean, I agree. I agree. Yeah, I agree with you. So, direct experience is acquired by someone exercising their higher faculties. Most people don't even know what those are or don't remember them. So working with the hue in certain techniques in certain ways without bringing any negative emotions into it produces results.
Okay.
So people can explore if they have the passion to do it. My work, and they can explore the techniques in the back of the Say Ray's Agenda book, or the Emerald Doorway, which is more about the hidden ancient past of Earth, at least one part of it, starting over 100,000 years ago before the last polar shift, how extraterrestrials were involved on Earth then. The Say Ray's Agenda is more about how they're involved on Earth in recent times and behind the scenes now. So it'll be very helpful for people. They can watch a presentation I conducted. I actually looked older then than I do now, in Finland some years ago at a very special conference. And I do a presentation for renowned scientists and other people there who are spiritual cutting edge scientists. And I did a presentation for them and many other people. I brought a recording crew over there, and we recorded not only my presentation, but the other presenters there as well. So they can look up Finland, R. Scott Limriel in Finland video, or they can go to paralleltime.com, paralleltime.com, and they'll find that Finland video right on the front page. They can click it on for free and play it and watch it and do the exercises with me right then and there.
Watch this one, Scott in Finland. Very good one. Very, very good one.
It was the first time I not the first time. I did other conferences before that in the United States, but it was the first one overseas. First one I did overseas was in Norway. Then a year later, I went to Finland and did one there, 2 Scandinavian countries. And they were recorded, particularly Finland, because we had control of the recording and sound, and it's incredible good quality. So they can watch that and go right on it with me as if they were there and do the exercises with me. And it begins a process that is very beneficial, but it's not reversible. When people begin to work with the hue, they're going to recover a great deal more about who they are. It takes a little time and a little effort, but it does work. So that's the answer. This is also one of the persons that you asked earlier and that has sent me emails wants to know about the hue and healing. Disease or disease of any kind is caused primarily by the misuse of the creative imagination. People don't realize they're misusing it when they do it because they've been manipulated often before they were even brought here on Earth or compelled to incarnate here. And this goes into galactic history, what beings were and what they did before they found themselves on Earth in a body with little to no former memory left. The memory's not lost, it's just been suppressed. The subconscious mind is an artificially created domain through the misuse of science, not earth science. Negative emotions of any kind are artificial, and they're implanted in people to make them believe they are real, that they are part of who a person is. This is not true. The real Atma, not the body, but the being, doesn't work with negative emotions. In order to travel the multidimensional universe, to remember who we are, to remember past lives, or to go to other dimensions, visit other worlds, a person has to be able to do this by putting all negative emotions and thoughts aside. In their imagination, getting into a certain restful state, sitting down or laying down, and then imagining someone they love, respect, and are grateful for that being in their life. This sets up or opens up a particular doorway, a vibrational link through the pineal gland in the center of the brain. It's through that gland in the center of the brain that the body's regulated, but it's also through that gland that the Atma, the real spherical form of being, gets in and out of the body. People do it all the time at night when they put the body in the trance state called sleep. But they don't realize that's what they're doing. Then they bring back a vivid dream and say, oh, look what I made up in my mind. They think their brain made this up while they're asleep. This is not true. They're bringing back actual memory, distorted or clear, of what they're doing when they're out of their body at night. Beings, us, are not physical matter. We're not made up of electrons and protons and neutrons or atoms. We're made up of an energy that exists before matter was created, and it's throughout the creation, through the void of space and up through all the dimensions. When we recover awareness of this, we can put the imagination, when we know how a planet looks or a higher dimension looks, what it looks like, we can visualize it, send out the hue, and this omnipresent field of energy that co-creates with us will fill that imagination and will travel to that location. That's how that works. On Earth, most people are busy creating their imagination in two different, opposed ways. Good, want everything great for life, terrorized of the future, terrorized of the Armageddon on the planet, terrorized about their family or any one thing or another. And on the other hand, they imagine wonderful things. The negative has more predominance on Earth because the people on Earth and the atmosphere is full of it. Jam-packed full of fear, doubt, uncertainty, speculation, terror, anger, revenge, all these things. A person needs to discover how to disconnect themselves from that, shut them down, and then go out and discover things and wake things up. And that's what we do. So when a person hears this for the first time, relative to disease, if you focus the hue in a constructive, childlike, wondrous, imaginative way, through the body and out to the world for the good of all life, an energy comes through a person that will remove that disease and send out uplifting, life-transforming energy to others, especially when a person's aware of this new ray consciousness that's working through this living, omnipresent energy force that's even in the void of space. So basically, to turn things around and wake up forgotten things and to work with maximum health, a being needs to be able to, of free will, consciously imagine sending this energy through their body for the good of all life, not just for their own sake, selfishly, not just for their own health or what they need in life, but the good of all life. Because when it comes through us, it also takes care of the good of all life for us. Because then we're focusing the imagination correctly. There's only really one right use of the creative imagination, and that is to intentionally create that which will be of uplifting, constructive benefit for all life, not just life on Earth. This is a big problem for people on Earth because they don't understand or remember about how vast life is outside of this planet, out in the stars, out in the universe, and in the higher dimensions. They've been shut so far down, they wonder if life exists anywhere off this planet. And that's pretty pathetic, but that's the condition of people on Earth right now, and it needs to change. It changes through people hearing about it, then somewhere in the back of their conscience, they go, wait a minute, I used to know this stuff. This is really familiar to me. Something gets triggered because when I speak, and I'm dealing with you now, my work is telepathic. It's not of the lower psychic energies. They're valid in their own realm, but they're positive and negative. And they swing from one pole to the next constantly. That's the way the energy moves from the lower unit to 4 dimensions. And so when people try to rely on psychic energy to predict something, so half the time they can be right and half the time completely wrong. So we want to work with an energy that precedes, comes before the energies that keep alive the physical universe and the lower dimensions, like the astral plane where emotion comes from. We want to work with an energy that has dominance and mastery over it. Then it puts those two opposing positive and negative streams together. So they're harmonized and circling out to create form, surrounded by this pre-existing energy that powers it. That way, when the positive and negative comes out, it creates things in the universe without karma, without opposites. It just does uplifting good, and there is no opposite. Opposites come from fear and negativity versus love and self-righteousness, which is also a trap. The positive and negative energies in the lower dimension trap beings because they aren't the real pure positive energy that beings work with to get back to the source they came from and in order to function correctly in the entire multidimensional universe, free from entrapment. So we learn through this process a new wisdom, how to circumnavigate the multidimensional creation without being vulnerable to anything that's negative at all. I know this is a lot for people to take in, but it has to be said. If they don't hear it and don't think about it, they can never imagine it. And if they can't imagine it, they can never have it. There's a principle that exists in the great multidimensional nature of science out in the universe, spiritual science, for lack of a better way of putting it. And that is, you can only have as much of the eternal source of things, what people call God, as you can imagine. No more, no less. Which means that the real use of the highest faculty of the imagination, which is not made up in the brain at all, is direct knowing perception. This is a telepathic function that connects into the omnipresent living energy behind and supporting all life, and you get into a communication with it, a flow of energy between you and it. And when you imagine in it, it fills that energy to manifest it, good or bad. So people need to obviously recover enough awareness to not use the imagination and let themselves slip into thinking down negative paths towards the future, because it depresses them, brings the energy down, and grounds it into the earth. The good side of their being is coupled with the bad side, and the two neutralize each other when they're opposed and ground the energy into the earth. So people really can't get off the planet and out of their body in a sense. And they're supposed to be able to do this. One of the things that's perpetrated intentionally on this planet through governments and religions is to make people afraid of getting out of their body because the devil will get you or some evil being will catch you. This is a complete fabricated nonsense because they're already caught. They're already on Earth and they don't remember who they are, how they got here. So how much worse can it get getting out of your body and finding out what truth really is beyond this planet? The Atma cannot be destroyed or severed or cut in half or dismembered. It's not made of physical matter. A hydrogen bomb could not harm one single being. One of the greatest truths ever suppressed from people on Earth is that they cannot be destroyed. We know it in spiritual and religious trainings that soul is eternal, but people understand that as a concept, you know, as a faith, as a belief. They don't have it as real experience. And to really be free, it has to be direct experience. Healing comes from relaxation. This is the absence of fear about one's destiny in the future and the destiny of planet Earth. If people are afraid of that, then it puts stress on the body, short circuits certain things that this omnipresent force won't work with. It does not work with negative emotions at all. So if people really want to advance, they have to know how to stop using those negative emotions, put them aside, because they really have the ability to do it if they really start becoming aware of it, and then go off on these journeys without taking that baggage with them. Stays on Earth with the body. We put the body in the trance state called sleep, the same state people put it in when they put it to bed at night and it goes to sleep. The pineal gland in the center of the brain secretes melatonin, creates serotonin, that puts the body in a sleep state. It puts it on automatic, gets the lungs working, keeps the heart working, and keeps it in a restful place while you're out exploring the multidimensional creation. People, the most unconscious person does it every night, but they're not conscious of it. There's no training on this planet from birth to teach people to do this, so they have no confidence. They don't even know it's real. They're perfectly fine growing up and being taught in schools that imagination is fantasy and that it's just, you know, made up in your brain. This is not true. When a person imagines a waterfall or a butterfly while they're sitting in their car at their home, Or that camping trip they went up in the high mountains, they looked at a waterfall and they imagined it. They're actually seeing it there from a distance. What distorts these, keep bringing back these energies, is the fear. Negative emotions distort what people try to bring back until it's a jumbled mess. And a lot of people bring back jumbled dreams. Sometimes, when they're lucky, when they go to bed at night feeling good and they're not taking any negativity with them, then their dreams are clear. And they can bring back memory of what they're doing. So we definitely don't want to take anything, even if you have some kind of a, any kind of a sickness or disease, you don't want to take fear of that with you on these journeys. When you go and get energy that's higher than being in the physical earth body and bring it back, that's very healing, very recharging to the energy centers along the spine, through which energies from higher planes come through. Tension and fear kind of close those down. So it's important to set up kind of like a spiritual exercise, prepare properly before we go into one of these exercises that are designed to recover hidden memory, deliberately hidden truth, and the wisdom to understand it. It is actually the being, which is spherically shaped. It has a structure, but it's not made of physical matter. It is energy, but not like what is known on Earth. The biggest comparison I could have, the best comparison I could have, is to say, in the experience in the CERN Super Collider, the Large Hadron Collider in CERN, Switzerland, where they race particles around at near the speed of light and crash them into each other, they're able to determine there is an energy that does not cooperate with the laws of physics quite, that exists behind all matter. And they've detected it, so they didn't know what to do with it or how it works, so they just called it the God particle. And this is the hue itself, the first sound. When I send out the hue, I'm actually vibrating the pineal gland in the center of the brain. Here's another thing. When people hue, the round hole tone of HU in any language on Earth, I don't care if you speak Japanese or Chinese or Congolese or Russian or English or whatever you speak, galactic standard, an extraterrestrial language. If you can make sounds, even animals can, if they can make a hue, the sound only vibrates the cranium, the head, upward. Doesn't work with anything lower. And so it kind of opens a door, triggers a certain mechanism, like an electrical circuit in the pineal gland, and it opens a door so that people can peer into the nature of the multidimensional universe and see and know things. It's a way of being telepathic with beings from other worlds and other realities who are telepathic. And here's the thing about telepathy. Nothing of a negative nature can flow through a telepathic beam of energy because it rides on the hue itself. And nothing of a negative nature exists in the hue. It only exists in slower energies below the source of the hue. So if we go directly into the source of the hue, we're placing our consciousness in connection with that which is over negative things. Gives us a perspective, an objective perspective to look and see things clearly for the first time. And to get there, we need to put our body in a restful state. And then the being itself, you and I, can begin to have the freedom to see and know things without negative influence, which distorts that. So that's very important. A person can, if they have a problem with a certain disease, they also need to learn or discover what it is they're doing that's creating the conditions in the body to create the disease. And one of the quickest ways to do that is to be uplifted by the hue vibration and then let that hue pass through the diseased area in the body, but not just to selfishly heal themselves. This is the key. While they're healing themselves, they also need to let that energy go out to heal others because it will not be bottled up. You cannot grasp it in your hand and hold it for yourself alone. It will not work that way. You have to be able to co-create with it, cooperate with it, to let it pass through you if you want some kind of healing. Healings of the body in any form are temporary. In the olden days, when some master person healed somebody of the blind, or cured people of leprosy, or healed a broken back, that person might have still gotten run over by a herd of camels 2 years later and killed. It's not eternal, it's just the body. So the real healing of the Atma waking up heals the body. But it's not because the body's eternal, it's because the Atma, the being, is. And it's important that people have a conscious experience of what they are as a being and not a body. Not a concept, not a religious belief or faith, because that won't do it. If it's really good faith, it should lead to or have people cross paths with direct experience. Direct experience takes a person beyond faith into knowing. When you know something and you're in knowing, there is no terror, fear, nothing negative, no evil. Nothing of that nature can come into that or penetrate that. The secret here is flowing whatever you do for the benefit of all life, even healing yourself, changing one's life, making more money, anything like that. It begins to make a person stand in their own gravity. It's like they're a world and they're in their own gravity, whole and complete. And they can move through life without desperate need for anything. And then they're whole. And if they meet other beings who have that consciousness, that's two whole beings getting together, and you can create wonderful things. People on Earth do not live like this yet, for the most part. 7.5 billion people, most of them do not know who they are. I don't care if they're in the outer government, elected, whether they're a classified government, people don't vote for, classified space program, military on any country, the leaders, the royal families, most of them do not know who they are. They don't remember. And they've been manipulated to misdirect life in ways they self-righteously think are good. Like, we know about extraterrestrials, they might say, but you don't get to because we're superior. That's tyrant thinking. It's not only wrong, it's off the mark and misdirected. So people like that also want to stop doing it. They want to be free also. The only reason they do what they do and lie to people is because they've been subconsciously manipulated to do that. And that is the agenda of a totalitarian race from another planet. That's the facts. That's the truth. What they were doing here and their presence on this planet was moved away. Not by people on Earth, but by a vast organization of world systems that kindly escorted them out of our solar system. They didn't kill them. They just made them leave in no uncertain terms. So now we've got a planet full of misdirected people subconsciously misdirecting the world, which is destructive, from programs in the subconscious, and that needs to be dissolved, neutralized. That's what's underway. It takes billions of people from other worlds, highly awakened, highly technically skilled, to turn around a planet of 7.5 billion people all heading in the wrong direction. The first thing they did after World War II was keep us from destroying ourselves through nuclear war. And that is exactly what they have done and are doing, or we would all be dead now. And they're not going to allow this planet to go up in nuclear war. That's for the benefit of all life here. But more than that, nuclear weapons set off in that level would affect life in parallel dimensions on this Earth people don't know even exist. It would affect life in space and in other dimensions in a negative way. And the beings that are out there, far more advanced than us, kind, loving, are not going to tolerate that. They don't like to interfere in a planet's choice or free will. But the fact of the matter is, people on Earth don't have true free will. How can you have true free will and run around saying, I have free will, if you don't remember who you are, how you got here? It's a contradiction in terms. You can't have it both ways. True free will requires that we know who we are and how to play in the grand universe itself. Because as beings and not bodies, we are certainly capable of doing it, all of us. with the right conditions in the right way, people recover this awareness. And it needs to be for everything and all life on this planet. If we want to have a real world like so many millions of others and join them, and we want to play among the stars, then we have to step up and be mature spiritual beings, unaffected by subconscious garbage, so that we can go out there and enjoy hospitality and share with other beings for the good of all life. Not just the good of life on Earth or one country or one race, for the good of all life everywhere. Because that's how the majority of beings off this planet operate. They work like that. They grow up like that. They aren't like people on Earth. They understand the plight we're under here. The knot is wound so tight in people subconsciously. They've been fed so many lies and misdirected so deliberately, even after World War II, but before that, and for thousands of years, that they don't know what truth is or what exists beyond this planet. And everyone on this earth once knew this. I don't care who they are. They could be all the way dumbed down and shut down and suppressed to the point that they just freak out and go postal or blow themselves up. Most beings are more courageous and stronger than that. Some just can't handle it, very few. But it's because they're trying to make an effect of something on the world, and they have no way to create an effect at all. They're just the effect of everything negative until they do something desperate just to have a negative effect back on the world. That's the way most people are. Most people on Earth are not diabolical. They're nice people, even people in the classified communities. Most of them are nice. Not all, most. And they don't want to be doing it. They don't want to be lying to everybody. It makes them ill, and it gives disease to their own families because it's a contradiction to being itself. You cannot lie to people and have maximum intelligence and health. So you see, it's not beneficial to them like they used to think it is. And they realize that now. They're knowing it ever more every day. That's a good thing. Because then they begin to be contacted by beings not native to this world who can help them unravel this subconscious junk, and they can make better decisions. And that's how we want to do this. We want to change the world in a peaceful, non-destructive way, but in a permanently different direction than has ever existed before, especially for this planet. So that's what my work is about, and that's the way it is with the beings I work with from other worlds and other realities, and their master teachers. Most of the real, most highly developed spiritual masters aren't even on Earth and have never come here. They're way out in the universe, all over the place, and it behooves people, very beneficial for a being on Earth to come into contact with any of these people because they're loving and kind, highly intelligent. You can't affect them with negativity of any kind. You'd never win. And yet they allow people to have free will to choose for themselves, because they realized fairly recently that people on Earth really don't have free will and haven't had for some time. In order to allow people to make their own free will choices on a planet of 7.5 billion people, you got to get them back their true free will, and they'll make the right decisions collectively together. That has to happen. People need to recover who they are, everyone. And then people can experience playing among the stars, getting out of their bodies, and doing all the normal things that normal humans and other races have been doing for hundreds of millions of years that people on Earth don't know about. And after World War II, we began to develop a communications network system through satellites worldwide, so that if there was a murder or some diabolical thing happened somewhere in the world, everybody knows about it instantaneously. And it's done to keep people in fear, because then they think it's going on in every corner of every street all over the world, and it isn't. The fact is, the amount of murders and things and negative things that happen have been going on this planet for many thousands of years. But in the past, the rest of the world never knew it, because there was no communication system for them to spread it around everybody else. It's important that a person detach themselves from the news media, predominantly, It's okay to know what's going on, but you want to detach yourself from reacting to it because it's mostly negative. Negative. That keeps the subconscious negative programs on and running people, misdirecting them away from finding truth and discovering who they are. And that condition was perpetrated on people, for the most part, before they were even born here. They don't remember the galactic history. They don't remember how old they are as a being or where they came from. The fact is that all Atmas like us came from dimensions very far above what the most Buddhist monks know as the fifth void. They're very developed, highly developed, disciplined people, but if they don't know something's beyond there, they're never going to look. They're never going to know it. I would say that some Buddhist monks, when they hear this, are going to suddenly go, wait a minute, is there something up there? And they'll be able to get themselves disciplined and go look, and they'll meet a guide, take them up there. Oh my God, there's all these dimensions above there too, which is where they came from originally, including you and I. The energy form of us, this eternal being, this drop of this pure energy that's coming from the ocean of the same energy, identical. Whatever people think God is, we are comprised of exactly the same energy, 100% on a smaller scale. And our reason for existing is to co-create, come up with co-creating new ways of doing things to help that source make things better. That's what the existence of a human being is all about. People on many other worlds and other realities know this. People on Earth do not, for the most part, not yet. But they're destined to know it, fortunately, finally, and that's underway. Enough said on that. When I'm doing this, I'm working with Ambassador Torellian of the Say Rays human race. They're not from Earth, very tall. It's a whole long story. And other very adept, very experienced couples from other worlds that help people remember, particularly when they're out of their body at night, when they have a more expanded state of consciousness. They help that person create with them a way to get free of their unconscious state on Earth, to remember, and how to do it in a balanced way so they can live their physical life out in more balanced ways, in increasing more balanced ways while they're recovering all this. You do it any other way and it's destructive, so it has to be done the right way. When I start these things, for the benefit of listeners, I will send out the hue, the sound, on a series of higher tones. This is designed to shut down subconscious implant programs, negative terrorizing programs that drive people's decision-making that they don't really know where it's coming from or what it is. They just know they feel afraid. And that's coming from something subconscious that's affecting their nervous system. So we want to shut that off so that when I do a guided thing for people to go see how the universe looks, how the world looks from above the planet, they can leave their body back on Earth safe and protected and breathing and blood pumping, and they can go look and see. But they're not going to see this with their physical eyes. That's limited to just a tiny spectrum of light. They're going to see it with the higher faculties of the Atma itself, what some people call the third eye, or the inner vision, or the inner hearing. It comes from this. An Atma or soul looks like it has a white central core of energy, then layers of these teardrop-shaped lights, like little spheres around spheres, but there's no solid walls. There's just layers of these lights, and each one of those little teardrops is a higher faculty of being. Oh, I remember how to go to Rexlam, this planet over here, 500 light years away, or I know how to go to the astral city of Sahasradal Kanmal, capital city, the whole astral dimension, or I know how to go to the mental plane, or the Atma plane above the void, or into other worlds, or to meet with people on a ship from other worlds who would see you coming there as an Atma, even though they've got their physical bodies on this ship. Things like that. These different layers of this Atma are faculties that can be utilized to look into the grand multidimensional universe and travel anywhere you wish to go, to learn, to grow, and to discover and come up with new ways of creating better conditions for everyone. That is the nature of being outside of planet Earth, predominantly. There are some negative extraterrestrial spacefaring races, but let's just say they're quarantined for now. So the biggest problem is how to turn around 7.5 billion people that have been unconsciously misdirected in all the wrong directions with the use of their higher faculties, grounded to this earth. It's like you get them trapped to use their imagination to trap themselves. And they don't even realize they're doing it. But they can realize it's going on, and then they can take control of it and stop it. And they get help from beings who'll help them do that. Okay. Let's go on a little journey. I would ask that people who are listening, if they wish to experience directly knowing certainty about anything, and get out of doubt and fear and speculation and theory and all that stuff. If they get relaxed, take a couple of deep breaths, and then when they're breathing out, whatever it is they're having a problem with, I don't care if it's cancer, or if it's doesn't have enough money, or a lover left them, or something, or they're worried about their age, or they're going to fail in this life, or any of those negative things, we're going to put them all aside on an imaginary shelf. Now remember, when you imagine, you're actually seeing it somewhere. And then all those negative programs are going to be put on this shelf, or basically turned off by us for now, knowing that our body's safe and protected in the hue, because it is, and that it's running in the trance state called sleep on automatic. Is put all your concerns about the future of Earth and your own future destiny aside, with the body still and serene. And then imagine someone or something you love and respect and have gratitude for that, whatever that is, being in your life. Just whatever it is for you, make it sincere. Wherever you are, send out your own hue. Even if you're mute, if you can't speak, even if you can't hear, if someone can do sign language to tell you what to do, it will still work. Because we're not talking about the physical body seeing and knowing things. We're discussing the Atma, the real you, the soul, seeing and knowing things. And it isn't limited in what it can know or see or do. Each of you send out your own hue silently in your consciousness or out loud in your vocal cords, just once together. I'll start it off. You. Send out this statement. And if Perry has Thai friends, she could interpret this in Thai. She hasn't already done it. And this is what you send out in the hue. It's a telepathic communication between you, the real you, and the source behind all life. Direct. No intermediary. Straight to the source itself. Through this energy field that runs through everything. It's pure. It has no negative and positive stream. There's no good and bad in it. It just supports all life. Here's what you send out. Safely show me deliberately hidden truth on a grand multidimensional scale, and the much greater knowing of the expansive love within it. Now I'm going to begin these tones to, well, it creates a serene state, a calm, a tranquility for those listening, for their benefit. And then they can imagine what I'm going to share with them while the body is restful. You. In the same way, you would imagine a butterfly or a waterfall, or a beautiful cat or dog or pet or a loved one, the ocean or mountains or the sky. Imagine this. Be above your body. Body safe, it's protected in this hue. Cannot be harmed by anything of a negative nature. The heart's working, lungs are breathing, everything's fine. It's in the trance state called sleep. Same when you put it in when you go to sleep at night, no different. Except you're conscious and remaining conscious when the body's asleep. You are the one who's hearing my voice, not the body. And you're not hearing it with your physical ears. You're hearing it with your inner higher faculties of the Atma, or soul. Look around you. You can see in any direction you place your attention. And you'll see that there is a white field of light with a golden tinge running through the atoms in the atmosphere around you. You can see it in this form, but you can't see it through the physical eyes, through the body. It's of too high a vibration. The physical eyes on earth are not designed to see this higher frequency. But you, the real you, are. This is the hue, and it has a sound. If you listen, you'll hear like a constant breath of wind mixed with humming bees and a high note of a flute. Flowing through everything. You can hear it buzzing through everything. It's a soothing, not an irritating sound. Be above the planet. We're with you. I'm there. Perry's there. Ambassador Trillian of the Say race, very kind, wonderful, loving being. This race called the Say race immortalized their physical bodies over 1 billion years ago. They aren't from the Milky Way galaxy. They're not even from Andromeda. They're not even from this dimension. They're in a parallel dimension in a world far away. And they originally were responsible for bringing into existence higher forms of bodies like human and others that could be brought up to a point where the Atmas running those bodies could play among the stars, develop technology to get around the universe. Even though they could get around the universe in the pure form that they are instantly. Kind of a challenge. So human beings never evolved on Earth in the first place. They were brought here, one way or another, over a much longer history than scientists on Earth, the non-classified ones, understand. People have been being brought here, animals, plant life, and mammalian life, for more than 50 million years since the big, dangerous, destructive dinosaurs were made extinct. So there's a history that people should know and don't know anything about it on their own planet. And there's a galactic history involving them that predominantly they had not on Earth. Out in space, floating in orbit in the black void of space, you see stars in every direction. You can look down and see the planet Earth with its beautiful oceans, clouds, atmosphere, polar caps, the moon circling it in the distance, and the sun way off in space. This is easy because the Atma is pure energy and it does not need to breathe oxygen. There's no atmosphere in the void of space, but it is not empty. If you look now, you'll see that it's full of this radiant white light with a gold tinge to it, moving around throughout the entire black void of space. If you looked at this with physical eyes from the space shuttle or with the Hubble telescope, you would just see a black void. But if you look at through ultraviolet, infrared, and higher instrumentation, it has color and density and things physical eyes can't see. We're going to travel on that underlying energy, this white energy with the gold tinge, and take a little journey from being above the planet. And let's see where we're going to go. Let's do this. Let's see what it's like to bypass the lower dimensions, cross the deep, vast void known to most Buddhist monks, and come to rest upon a land on the other side. Their things are made out of what's called pure positive energy, and there is no dual current. There's no positive and negative. There's no karma, no reincarnation, none of these things. We're going to do this by circling as beings, each one of us, in a circle around Trillian. This is to give us a focus point so we can all go to this one place together. Trillian doesn't consider himself superior to us. He's just much more advanced in that he's been aware of being and consciousness for a very long time. You're going to see a vortex open up above us in space. It's kind of a blue-violet light whirling around like a cyclone, like a tornado. And it's whirling around the outer side circumference of this circle of beings, however many there are listening to the show. And we're going to go zipping right up into that vortex, up this blue-violet shaft of light. And you're going to see a big black, looks black. It's really not black or absence of light, but there's really nothing in it that you can detect. It's just empty. It's a huge place. And as we come out into it, this circle of beings around Trillian, like we're planets revolving around a sun, we're going to move into the distance of this black void until you look behind you and you'll see this vortex tunnel we came out of and all the four lower dimensions fading away far below until they vanish. And then we're traveling through an empty void. at a very high rate of speed, if speed is relative here, which it isn't. We are in an area now that is not made of time and space. It's a barrier between the upper planes and the lower dimensions. In the distance, you'll begin to see a faint light. You'll hear the sound of you running through everything. And you'll feel it running through you as a spherical being. And it's drawing us like a bee to the nectar of a flower. You're going to see a white beach appear way in the distance, and then it extends into the horizon in each direction. And then a landmass appear, and we're going to cross over this white, pure white beach. And you're going to see botanical gardens below you, a palace-like building up against the base of snow-capped mountains, and waters and lakes and rivers running throughout the countryside. It's very well organized. You can see a fountain, looks like white alabaster stone with scalloped edges, in the middle of a clearing in a botanical paradise of flowers and beautiful birds with sweet singing voices. And all of us who are on this journey are going to come to float around this fountain. The fountain has a shaft of light running down into it. It is a white light with a gold tinge. And it's flowing in a big wide shaft of light that goes way up into the heavens above, comes down into the fountain, fills it, pours over the edges in a glistening, luminous, pure, glass-like sheet that looks like water. And you can drink from this water. You can take it into your being. You could even manifest a physical body here. It's like the body you have on Earth, but it's not made of physical matter. It's just projected out of your being, and you could drink from this water. And when it fills through you, it will light you up, and you'll begin to look like this white light with a gold tinge. And then it'll pass through you and continue on into the universe somewhere else. So it's meant to enliven and enlighten you, but also you are meant to co-create, allowing it to pass through you for the good of all life. You can hover up above as a sphere, a whole group of us, and move right into that shaft of light. It won't hurt you. We are now in a dimension not made of matter, above the void known to most Buddhists, some other races and religions, on many worlds. And we're going to be bathing in this shaft of light in our true spherical form. You'll feel a bit of a tingling sensation. Make sure you send this energy all the way down the planes, through your house, through the top of your head and your physical body on Earth, and see it light up your energy field, light up your brain, and then continue through you out into the world until it circles the planet. And then watch it dart out into space in every direction, through you. Now be up in this shaft of light, and then come out of it. Now, you know what Perry looks like and what I look like on Earth. You can see our form there if you look, so you can tell who we are. Otherwise, we are spherical energy beings, each unique, a unique pure drop of this energy, fully conscious, that is connected to the source many dimensions above this particular plane, the Atma plane, the first plane of the higher worlds. These are the planes the Atma, the real you, originated from before you found your way into the lower worlds and incarnation in bodies. Recovering this is key to recovering everything else. You can hear the sound of a high, thin note of a flute way up high. It sounds like violins or maybe millions of bees humming, and the sound of like a wind. It's very uplifting and soothing. You can send this down into your physical body through the top of your head, all the way back on Earth. Stay up here. The Earth body is in a trance state called sleep, and you can pass it through gently and safely. And it will know what to do and how quickly to change anything in the physical body as it passes through you on its way elsewhere. We're going to move away from this garden up into the atmosphere of this plane as a group around Turelian. And then you're going to see a violet blue shaft of light, gold tinge, form below us. And if you look down this whirling energy portal, this tunnel, you'll see Earth down there floating in space, all the way down there. And we're going to dart down it together, revolving around Turelian just as a focal point. And then we're going to come out hovering above planet Earth, looking on the polar ice caps and the beautiful blue-green jewel of a world where we call home. This perspective of looking at Earth from above and looking at your body from above, send that down into your physical brain, to your physical consciousness, so that it has a memory of this. Then find yourself hovering above your body, maybe up near the ceiling, whatever room or home or place you are. And then when you're ready, have your body open its physical eyes. Turn on your mic. That should be very beneficial for people. I know that it's a bit outside of their reality, but they are fully capable of comprehending and knowing it from being outside the body, where they're capable of doing that. The real trick is getting the awareness of this back in through the physical body. It's like bringing back a very far adventure at a dream at night, and you wake up in the morning with crystal clear memory. Only you're doing it fully aware. This is called, when we go up the tunnel, that's movement through time and space. That's bilocation. That means you are going up the tunnel, but your body's staying on Earth. You're being in two places at once. Direct projection is when we go somewhere instantly from one point to the other. We could have just gone from here right to that Atma plane above the void known to the Buddhists, but it takes a little practice to do it. So we went there the slower, probably the more adventuresome way. Okay.
Scott, people keep doing it, keep practicing, and then one day,
it all works. Yeah, they've got, people don't realize that this not knowing who they are isn't something that was done to them just this life. It was done to them in a life they had before they ever were compelled to come to this earth with no memory. So there's more to recovering this than just thinking about this lifetime and how they lived this lifetime. It's a drop in the bucket. There's a huge amount more to recover. And beings on earth, they may not know this or believe it, but they do have the capability and the wisdom to know this stuff, but not as a body and a brain, as a being. Because they aren't a body, they never were. They've always been a spherical form of energy. This form is the true form that we came into existence, that's like the source itself. Not the human body is made in the image of that source, the real energy that we are. They got that all wrong on Earth, completely. As long as people think in terms of that they're a body that can die and be put in the ground or cremated, they're way off course completely. Because thinking that way doesn't allow them to grow or change in the lifetime they're living. They're not going to recover anything thinking like that. So we want to help people recover what they used to think like, how they used to know stuff. It's very, very freeing. One of the things people will notice fairly early on is if they do this right, fear of the future will dwindle away from them and vanish. They won't fear the future anymore. They won't even fear death. Very, very important. So I guess I want to leave your radio show people with that tonight.
Okay, thank you so much, Scott.
There's a lot of places we could go, but I don't want to, go way out there into so many earth without them being able to go and get a little bit of it themselves and then build their confidence on it so we can go deeper.
Yeah, I just want to add up, Scott, if you have, I mean, people have some time, maybe practice this once or twice a week, and just keep doing it for some time, and
Yeah,
then you will
I would
experience.
do it every day, maybe 10 minutes at night before you go to bed. There are techniques in the back of the Say Raise Agenda book that are specifically designed for the prologue and all 29 chapters. I know it's difficult for people in Thai because they can't read the English, but you could help them with those 29 techniques maybe at some point and interpret them in Thai, so that they can begin to use the techniques to co-create recovering all that they once were and more. They can go to my website at paralleltime.com and click on the About Scott Hughes section, and it will go to a recording of my voice sending out the hue in 3-part harmony in a continuous looped way for almost 24 minutes. And you'll hear a tone running through the center of my voice that I didn't put there in the recording. It's the actual tone coming off the universe, the pure one. And you can tune in with that and get a little boost and a little help along the way.
Some they do that already, Scott, here, because I told them. And
That's
then they record, and they investigate before.
I'm glad you told them, because that's how you can bridge this language barrier on Earth. Here's the thing that people in Thailand should know, or anywhere in Asia, in any language, or anywhere in the world. You can take this book and put it on your pillow at night. Go out to the you, send out this statement, safely show me deliberately hidden truth on a grand multidimensional scale, and the much greater knowing of the expansive love within it in Thai. And then the book, when they get out of their body at night, they will be met by wonderful luminous beings who will speak to them in Thai. They'll be able to read the book in Thai in 3 dimensions when they're out of their body. So that's something they need to be aware of.
Scott, when you said this, remind me the story when we were kids, they sometimes said, for the test, for the exam, you just, put under pillow for the book and then to absorb it.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of basically it. It's really telepathic. And if you work at it a few minutes, not with a great effort and strain, but with a sincere childlike desire to know, and you do it for a few minutes every night, and you do it for up to 30 days, people will have an experience if they apply it. They will begin to recover who they are, and they'll get the help to do it. So I'll leave you all with that.
Okay, thank you. One more time.
Unless you have anything else, I will shut off the recording now.
Yeah.
And then I'll send it to you so you can put it up on your YouTube channel.
Okay, thank you.
Good night.